for fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 21 Ultimate Team coins. Make sure you guys go check out my sponsor, Easy Mutt. Use code VENOM at checkout for 5% off. Yo, what's good guys, Venomfire here, back from the video, and today me bringing you guys my full Jacksonville Jaguars Gun Bunch Offset Offensive ebook and guide. Now, this was a comment suggestion. I will show it right there, or right there in this case. So yeah, if you guys ever want me to do a scheme, something you want to see, make sure you leave a comment. There's always a chance that I could make a video on that. So again, leave some suggestions down below. But yeah, we're in Jacksonville Jaguars offensive playbook. Very unique playbook. And overall, I do think that this is the best gun bunch offset in the entire game. You have a lot of firepower right here. We're not necessarily going to touch up on every single play, but the ones we are going to touch up on are going to be PA dig fork at the bottom there. You got flood. We're going to go over flood, spacing switch at the bottom. Also deep dig at the top, bench pivot at the bottom, Z-spot and go right there in the middle. And yeah, those are our 6 passing plays. Now, we're not going to go over any run plays, but there are a couple of good ones. You got an 0-1 trap that I think is pretty solid, or halfback draw is solid. You have a counter that's solid, but yeah, so we're in Jacksonville Jaguars playbook. Also, I do urge you guys to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 15,000 subscribers, so make sure you go ahead, subscribe down below if you're enjoying the content. Drop a like if you want more videos just like this one. But yeah, let's get into it. Now, talking about the abilities that you need, I'm going to be running this with Hot Route Master. I urge you guys to use Hot Route Master. It's my favorite ability in the game right now besides Gunslinger. So we're going to be using Hot Route Master. If not, you got to get like a Backfield Master. You're going to probably need a slot apprentice, and then you're also going to need a tight end apprentice. So those will be the 3 abilities you need. In addition, I have a playmaker right here on the solo side, wide receiver. Now you could also go ahead and get route technician. We don't have that, but that's another thing that you could go ahead and do. Now, if you're wondering why Tom Brady is on the Jaguars, I just traded him over. I've been using the Bucs a lot. Decided to just rock with the Jags since we're using their offense. They have some good offensive weapons. And then obviously I also traded McCaffrey over. But yeah, let's hop into our audibles. Here's a look at our audibles. Bench, pivot, Z-spot, and go, flood, and PA dig fork. The play I usually will come out in also is going to be this speed dig at the top, which is honestly the reason that this is probably the best gun bunch offset in the game. So we're going to start out with speed deep dig. For this play, it's going to be a cover 3 beater, so you want your fastest wide receiver in the slot there. I'm just going to be running some 3-3-5 wide filter through man. We'll start with cover 3 because it does beat cover 3. And yeah, so look at our play art. It doesn't really look like it's going to be a super good play. You see we got a couple of weird routes here. We have McCaffrey's obviously on the deep dig. But D.D. Westbrook, we want to focus in on his route on the right, the one in red. He's on a very unique route. There's really nothing like it in the game. It's just a weird, like, kind of wheel route to in-route combo, but it works really well against cover 3. Now, the first setup for this play is just going to be blocking a running back, and then I like to just drag A. So it's just going to be something like this, and you don't have to use any motion. You don't have to smart route B at all. Leave B where he's at, and then leave RB at his route, obviously, and then pretty much you're just going to go ahead and snap the ball. So I'm just going to go ahead, shift to that right side. We're going to snap it, and boom, you see DJ Chark gets over the top. Now, that wasn't ran perfectly. I'll go ahead and run it again because you can get a lot more separation than we did there. I'll just set it up again. Again, just drag A, and then you can snap the ball. You can also get this off very quickly because, again, you're really only making one adjustment with your tight end on that drag. Again, we'll snap the ball. You see with D.D. Westbrook, oh shoot, I accidentally threw it to the wrong player. We actually did catch it though. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, D.D. Westbrook's really going to pull down that outside third with the catch that happened a little bit ago. Really makes it difficult to beat cover 3 for a one-play touchdown using corner routes or out routes. This could be a very, very useful play. So again, we'll snap the ball. This time I'll actually click the right button, and there you see it. Now, Tom Brady has a noodle arm, so he wasn't actually able to get the ball out. And I did throw that late, but usually the idea is to, again, pass lead to the right-hand side. If you want, you can also go with like a max protection, just kind of run it like this. I could definitely go ahead and do that. But here's a look at it ran perfectly. That is where you kind of want to throw it. And again, Brady doesn't have the best throw power. With a guy like Josh Allen, Rodgers, you're going to be able to get the ball out further. But that's kind of an example at it ran perfectly. I'll show you guys the replay, just taking a look at it. D.D. Westbrook, again, focusing on him. He's on just like this super weird out route. And even though he doesn't go super deep, for whatever reason, he just goes far enough to where A.J. Boye, even when the in route's not even in his range. He's actually just going to sit there. And then you obviously throw the ball. You see when we pass lead, it's the right about there. And then it's obviously a foot race, and we have enough separation on the safety and that outside corner. So I'll show this first setup again. Then we'll hop into some of the other ways that you can run it, both against cover 3 and man coverage. Again, one last time, we're just going to drag our tight end, and then we can snap the ball. Now, it can be even better if you can actually roll out and throw this, obviously from the hashes or whatever, but you can definitely throw it from the pocket as we're doing with Tom right here. But yeah, you see it working a lot better this second time. I did throw it a little bit early, late those first couple times, but now you get into a groove, you're going to be off to the races. So let's move into some of the other ways that you can go ahead and run it. What ways can you maximize the play? Now, we're going to go into some 5-man routes. That's probably the best way to run bunch this year, sending all 5 players out. You'll see that with the rest of the offense. But what you're going to do here is you're going to go ahead and cross your tight end with, again, we have that hot route master. We can cross him, and then you're just going to drag your X wide receiver and flat Y. So here's a look at what we have. We have a couple of nice routes here. We have we actually do maximize B, because in that first setup, you have an in route running into an in route. If he deep halves, you're going to have 2 in routes running directly into each other. It's not going to be an ideal setup necessarily. But with this one, you have a crosser, you have the in route that's going to come behind it, and then on the left, you have a drag and a backside flat. So again, you have playmaker on this drag. I can playmaker up. I can do whatever I want. This will still beat cover 3 as well, so I'll just throw it for the first one. Boom, over the top, and again, DJ Chark, 94 speed going to work there. But really, we want to focus. If I just go ahead and deep half like this on our defensive side of the ball, then obviously it's not necessarily going to work as effectively. So we're just going to set up regularly. Boom, I can kind of hit that flat. I can wait. I can throw this crosser in between. The flat comes open late. I can do really whatever I want with the playmaker. If he's sending a little bit of heat at me, let's say he blitzes all of his linebackers, something. Let's just set up something weird, kind of like this. Just like a deep half setup. He's going to rush 5 at us. We want to block our running back. Maybe I block my running back. I drag X across A. And then in this case, I can actually just playmaker back with McCaffrey, and then I can hit him in the flat. So some nice options there. With that being said, let's hop into our last setup. And again, I did want to spend a lot of time on this because this is probably a new play for a lot of you guys. So I'm obviously going to spend more time on something like this rather than a Z spot and go that I've talked about a lot. That's just kind of my reasoning behind it. But yeah, we got one more setup for this speed dig play. And again, there's other things you can do, not in this video, but yeah. So for this one, we're going to create a similar route combination to the Jets dig play out of gun bunch in the New York Jets offensive playbook. We're going to corner A. We're also going to flat B. This is not going to be a cover 3 beater, but you're just going to corner A, flat B. You're going to flat Y, and then you're just going to motion Chark over. So we just kind of create a seam route. This is going to be pretty good against cover 2 defenses. You can either motion snap him or you can wait. You see how he can pull down those zones. Now, this play is going to be pretty good against like a cover 3 Mabel, so I'll try and set that up here. Basically, what you would see is L1, he would be in like a hard flat, and then on this side, it would be maybe X in the hard flat. Something like this, just a classic cover 3 Mabel type look, 2-man rush or 3-man rush. And again, what you're doing is flatting Y, you're going to flat B as well, corner route A, and then usually you do want to get this motion snap. This one's really good against man coverage as well. It just gives you a lot of options right off the bat. I can lowball that to A, I can hit B in the flat, I can hit Y in the flat immediately. Late play situations, we have X, and we actually have X on the playmaker, so I can playmaker him back left, playmaker him up. Then we have RB in the middle of the field, obviously. But yeah, it's going to do it for speed dig. Let's go ahead, hop into the rest of our plays. We're going to start out with this bench pivot here, stock bench pivot. We have some nice setups for this play. First things first, we're just going to go ahead, streak B and out RB, just like this. Standard setup. This play is going to be pretty good against man coverage. If I had to guess, we're just going to snap the ball, and you see, boom, Tyler Eifert, he's going to beat man coverage. Now, Tyler Eifert's like a 74 overall. He's not exactly going to be very good for us. You can get really good guys in Mutt, Darren Waller, just to name one right there. But yeah, this combo is pretty good. Here, again, you're just going to put R1 or RB on an out route, and then you're going to go ahead streak B. You leave these two routes the same. We'll do some stuff with those a little bit later, but against zone, the out route usually does get open, and I like it a little bit better than maybe a flat or even a zig, which we'll go into a little bit later. But yeah, do like this out route out of this play in particular. I just feel like they kind of overlap each other well against man and then also zone. But the out route's going to run to about 7 yards, so if they're playing over the top, you can still low ball it and almost pick up a first down just by doing that. But yeah, let's move into our next setup for this play. What you're going to do with this one is you're going to go ahead, streak RB instead of B this time, and then with B, you can zig him. Now, I could leave him on this out route. It's not a bad out route, but I like this zig route instead. You're just going to snap the ball. You see how A kind of runs in or behind that zig route. He runs to the outside of the zig when the zig is breaking in. I kind of like the way that looks. I do think it does some cool things against man coverage. So again, streak RB, zig B, snap the ball. And a lot of these setups are just pretty quick, things that you can go ahead and do. You see it's 1 or 2 routes that you're adjusting. So some of these you can definitely snap the ball, catch somebody off guard. But yeah, I'll go ahead and show this one more time here. Here's a look at the setup. Now also, something I did want to talk about that brings me to it is I could actually run this with a playmaker, and I can playmaker the zig back in. So if I snap the ball, I can just playmaker right there, and boom, the zig cuts back in. That's a really good route to use because you're going to get initial separation against man coverage with the zig, and then you can actually bring him back inside and almost act as a drag route, just a unique route with the playmaker that does have success. But yeah, we got one more play for this bench pivot. What we're going to do in this play is something I've showed before. We're just going to drag X and actually post RB. So we're going to leave our out route with B. You can put B on an out, different out if you want. But yeah, this is just a pretty good standard stock type setup. Can playmaker X back in, can playmaker him up. But overall, it just gives you a couple of high-low reads with A and B, and then also with X and RB over the middle of the field. Again, here's a look at our setup. Just like this, go ahead, snap the ball, and you see with B, I can hit him. I can kind of playmaker X up, low ball it right there. Depending on if they're running a Mabel, I would usually playmaker up a little bit earlier. But yeah, that gives you some options, and bench pivot is a pretty solid play. There's also a smash return in this offense, so you actually have them both. I do like bench pivot a little bit more. But let's move into Z-spot and go. Here, again, some playbooks have this play, some just have Z-spot. It doesn't really change too much other than the fact that you have to put Y on a flat usually yourself. For this first setup, what we're going to do here is we're just going to go ahead and smart route RB. We're also going to drag X, streak B, and then we're actually going to block A. So here's just going to be kind of a standard type setup at what we're looking at. Just kind of a stock setup. You see with X, you can playmaker him up field. That's probably my favorite way to run Z-spot this year. Just to smart out RB and then actually cut that playmaker up the field. Again, it's going to be pretty good against man coverage. Let's set something like that up. And again, you're going to have also that 6-man protection. Now, something people like to do this year out of bunch offset is kind of quick snap this flat. Now, I'll start showing that a little bit more. But every time you put your running back on a flat, that's something that you can take advantage of against man coverage. It's not really effective, as we just got screamed at. But yeah, with that, again, corner out, you probably do want route technician. Chark doesn't have that, and he's going against a pretty good corner. I think that's A.J. Boye or Bryce Callahan, whoever the Broncos have. But yeah, going back to that flat, I'll show it next play. But yeah, one more time. Here's a look at our setup. And here you see DJ Chark gets really, really good separation. That's just stock man press. We're not shading underneath or over the top, just stock man. And he's able to get separation even without that route technician ability. Going back to this kind of quick snap type thing I was talking about with James Robinson out of the backfield, a lot of people will just quick snap this, and then you can cut it upfield exactly like that. You just want to snap the ball, hold Y, and then start trucking upfield. I'll try and show it again. I actually did it really well that time. I'm not super good at it. I do need a little bit more practice, but again, we'll just go ahead and snap the ball. You're going to immediately throw it to Y, and then you can kind of cut upfield. It's hard because Robinson doesn't air truck. Marcel Reese air trucks, other guys like that do, but that's a way you can do it. Moving on, I'm going to start going through these Z-spot and go setups a little bit faster. We do have a lot of these setups. We're going to go ahead and streak B for this setup. We're going to smart out RB, drag X, and then we're just going to, you can block your running back for this one if you want to. You can also leave him on a flat. Just depends on what you're doing. For this one, I like to motion D.D. Westbrook out a little bit, kind of like this. It opens up the flats a whole lot, so if they're running zone, you're going to hit the flats. I do like this setup a little bit more against zone rather than man, so we're just going to kind of stay in our zone coverage. But yeah, again, here's a look at the setup. I could leave the flat if I want to. It doesn't really, again, make too big of a difference, but just motion them out. snap that, and then you see I can hit RB on the sidelines. I could also hit A. B is just kind of a clear out, but I have the playmaker, I have the backside flat, so I have some options right there. Another setup that you can do is just kind of the standard ones that you know that I've shown multiple times before, and those are going to be A on a streak, B on an out, X on a drag. For this one, again, you can block your running back. If you want to, you can leave them on the flats. Again, it doesn't make too big of a difference. Very good against stock man-to-man coverage. We didn't really get too good of separation there, but he still did have a step initially. DJ Chark I'm talking about, but yeah, the other way to run that we know is to put A on a crosser. So again, we could run it one of two different ways. We can run it like this, or we can run it like this. So we're just changing the tight end, leaving pretty much the rest of them. This is typically a 6-man protection. And again, the flat, he's not doing anything for us against man coverage, so there's never really a reason to send him out other than maybe hoping for a route bounce. But yeah, here you're going to have multiple routes that beat man. Did forget to audible, so we're just going to run it against zone here, fall down. But yeah, when you run it against man, you have a crosser, you have the corner out, you have the playmaker that all beat man coverage. Sometimes your opponents do a pretty good job of disguising, so maybe you don't know, but typically you can tell if your opponent's running man coverage or not. And this is a pretty good setup. You're not using any motion, so you're not going to necessarily be in a terrible spot. But you see right there again, DJ Chark does get the separation with his speed advantage. Anyways, with that being said, let's go ahead and move into our next play, which will be the flood play. Now, flood, it's going to be similar to Z-Spot and Go again. I'm going to be running relatively the same setups. I have one of the same setups, and then I actually have a new setup. For the stock flood play, really you're just going to flat Y and snap the ball. It's the same thing with the Marcel Reese or any running back that can air truck. You're going to snap throw it to them and then start trucking up the field. Derrick Henry can do it. Marcel Reese can do it. I don't exactly know the list, but those are two guys who do it. A lot of people use Marcel because he did get that backfield master. It doesn't really matter anymore with Hot Route Master, which is pretty much the meta right now. But yeah, I do think he gets faster for 1 AP. Again, I'll show this air truck, snap throw it, and then you can cut up field. Even if I don't truck up field, I'm picking up 5 initially, and it's very difficult to stop. Obviously, you're going to almost have to use that left side of the field. Now, obviously, man coverage, we got our out routes and our in routes that still beat it. Some people are starting to go against this. They feel like Acrobat jumps it a little bit too much, but honestly, I don't feel that way. I feel like I can still throw this every single play against man coverage and catch it every single play. Obviously, you need competent receivers to do that, but I still like to run flood a lot. It's really good against man, really good against zone. Here, I'll throw it to C-Mac against Bryce Callahan, a really good corner. And even though McCaffrey doesn't have the route running, he doesn't get that perfect break, he still does get separation. So flood, still really good, still run that play. Let's move into the new setup that I was talking about. What you're going to do out of this setup is you're going to actually, this is pretty good against jammed man-to-man. So stock man, pressed. Let's set up something kind of like this, just to show off a example of a rep you would see online. For this setup, we're going to cross A. We're going to flat our running back. We're going to go ahead and fade X, and we're going to zig B. So here's a look at what we have. Just a unique route combo. And you see sometimes guys like Christian McCaffrey will get separation there. Now, he won't because, again, he doesn't have the route running, but guys like Moss can. Other really good receivers, McLaurin, I don't exactly know who's necessarily the meta right now, but again, really just anyone with like 99 speed, super fast, can get that glitchy animation off press to man. Now, as far as Jacksonville bunch does go as a whole, I feel like you guys will start to see this. I do think guys like Throne are actually starting to run this, so maybe you see Throne do it. I think he did run this in Bot Wars, I want to say. But you'll probably see some more people do it. Obviously, if he runs it, a lot of people will, but yeah, that is just an option, so we'll see how far this formation comes. But again, with that setup, you're just going to fade X, excuse me there, you're going to zig B, cross A, and flat Y. Again, good against stock man-to-man coverage. Let's throw this crosser here. It's obviously a successful route combination against zone. If we run cover 3, we press. You see it should still get open. And again, it's just a very unique combo. This zig out route combo you don't see a whole lot of. And right there, we're going to throw it to the out route, and he is open. Could have low balled to the zig as well. But yeah, just a great option. Let's move into our next play, PA dig fork. Now, I don't run this play personally a whole lot. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I know some people are, but overall, it's not really my jam. I do have a couple of decent setups, and it's actually very similar to Z-Spot. The corner route's just a little bit worse if you ask me, because if you smart route RB, you see it's very short as well. So you can kind of run some of the same concepts. But we're also going to take advantage of the route we have with TD Westbrook. So the setup we're going to run is going to be smart route B. We're going to smart route RB as well. Now, smart routing B is just going to make him just a little bit shorter on that cut. Again, Westbrook is pretty good against man coverage. We'll actually motion him anyways, but he will beat man coverage. So let's actually audible to that. As far as our other routes, I like to just drag Y or drag X, flat Y, and streak A. So here's a look at my route combo. Again, with DJ Chark, he's not as good. We don't really have a clear out or an out route on that side, but we have Playmaker with X, we have a flat route with Y. And then with Westbrook against man, you're going to motion him out a step, and then he's going to run his S route, and you see sometimes he'll get separation. That's the reason I am not super high on this play, because sometimes he's going to get separation, sometimes he doesn't. It's really just depends. Obviously, if you have route tech, whatever. But I would personally just rather run Z-Spot overall. We'll set it up again here. Smart route B, smart route RB, streak A, drag X, and flat Y. There's a couple of other things you can do with it. Obviously, if I put B on any other route, it kind of makes the play useless. So that's just kind of why we do got to use him if you're going to run this play. Usually you just want to motion him out as soon as you can like this. And now we should get a little bit better separation. We don't really do. But I think RB might have been open. I wasn't really looking. I was kind of focusing on B. Against cover 0, again, B should get a step. You can honestly also run it stock. You don't have to motion out per se. Maybe that's even hurting us. But yeah, I'll kind of focusing on the other routes. DJ Chark, boom, he gets really good separation. B did get better separation there. I saw we have the playmaker, we have the backside flat. So you have options. Again, it's not my cup of tea, but it is something that you can use and mix in. You can obviously go with some of the other popular setups, maybe something like this, backside as post, whatever. But this is not man coverage, but this is kind of look at maybe a setup you want to throw in. Again, I have talked about this in like my Carolina bunch video, bunch offset. But yeah, let's move into our last play, which will be that spacing switch. All right, now with spacing switch, you see I did come out in it on the short side of the field. The reason for that is I was just trying to show something that you can do with it. Now, my favorite setup out of this is going to be to actually cross X. So we're going to put X on a crossing route. Kind of weird. There's a reason for it. We're actually going to flip our bunch. So you want to come out on the short side so that you can put X on the crosser, because obviously if he's on the wide side, I can only put him on a post corner, or fade stop. But we want him on either a crosser or like that shorter post route. As far as our other routes, I'm just going to put RB on a slant and Y on a flat. So here's a look at what I like to do. Some people like the post better. I like the crosser a little bit better. I feel like I get better separation. Look at McCaffrey off the line. He just gets a really good jump. Again, Bryce Callahan's a really good corner, so he's going to kind of stick to him pretty well in man coverage. But you saw the jump he gets. I could have honestly snapped through that if I wanted to. But yeah, let's show the other way you could do it. And again, that's just putting X on this type of post. You can go crosser, post. They run relatively the same. Again, as far as the other routes, we have A on a tight end hook, and then we have B on just kind of the out route that you saw at a bench pivot. But yeah, we have a couple of high-low reads, X on that post, high-low read, X and RB, and then it ends up being X and A with that kind of hitch. And even if you wait super long, it'll be X and B on the high-low read, and then over here you have RB and Y. So against man coverage, you have RB and X that will both get separation. Really, it can be a zone or a man beater play. I think it's a little bit better against zone, though. Let's go to cover 3. Again, X on a post or a crosser, flip, RB on a slant, Y on a flat. You can definitely mix in some unique things, just like this. But you see here, we're going to step up in the pocket, low ball to A, and we have a lot of space to throw there. I could have also thrown it to X because I think that hook curl was actually coming down on Eifert over there. I'll show it one more time with the crosser here. Cross X, flip. We're going to audible to Tampa 2 here. And then you're going to go ahead, slant RB and flat Y. Again, snap the ball. We'll step up in the pocket here, and then we will throw it to X. X was open. We didn't get the time, but you see how that crosser can be a little bit deadly. Obviously good against cover 0, things like that. But overall, that's going to do for the video. If you guys enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, follow me on Twitter. Link will be down below in the description. And peace. I'm out of here.